What is going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and I have got an exciting CGC unboxing here. There are two books here, and yes, I did already look at the grades on these. Normally, I don't do that, but these two, I just couldn't help myself with them, and I'll tell you why. So, with these two books, I actually picked these up from an Instagram claim sale from Flip Mode Comics. If you're not familiar with Flip Mode Comics, they're the ones that bought that Bobby Blue collection, that huge Golden Age collection that sold maybe like a year ago or so now. But they have one of their Instagram claim sales that they do usually every 2 to 3 weeks or so on Sundays, and I ended up picking up a couple books from them. And so the two books that I picked up from them, I knew I wanted to get graded. And I know for me, I have this huge backlog of books that I need to get graded, and that if I had them sent here, it would probably take a while for me to get it done. And so one of the options that they provide is to have the books sent directly to their presser, which is Rocket Comics. And so then their presser does them. They reach out to you. I worked with them on Instagram, and I gave them my information. I used my CGC submission, so I used my account and everything for that. I sent them all that information, and then they pressed the books. They sent them into CGC, and then got graded. So I knew that if I did it that way, it would actually get done versus being sent to me where it'll sit in a box for months, if not a year or more, before it actually gets sent out. So I have never actually seen these books in person. That's one of the really interesting things with this, is that I basically sent these off blind. So I know what Flip Mode Comics had graded them at, and but you're taking a risk there, right? It's like no matter what, like you're taking a risk that I didn't get to evaluate the books first. I didn't get to check them, see what I thought they could be, if there are any issues or anything like that. And so I was just like, all right, send them off, get them pressed and cleaned, and let's see what they come back as. And I'll tell you right now, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with these books. But let's get into them. Let's check these ones out, because it's just two books. These were both unlimited tier books, and so. So just two books, unlimited tier books. So not cheap. I probably could have slipped one of them through in the vintage tier, but I wanted the books back fast. Who cares? I mean, even though the book has the value to be an unlimited, I feel like I could have gotten it through in the vintage tier, just because it's not like a super well-known book. It's not one of those books that's going to jump out like, oh, this should have been unlimited or high value or whatever. Because that one is a Golden Age book. The other book is a Silver Age book that there is no way you're getting that book in without it going through the unlimited value tier. They would upcharge you regardless. So if that's the case, you might as well just send it in unlimited anyway, and it gets graded super quick and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of for time frames and everything, and for cost, I think the books were opened by CGC on June 4th. They had them graded by, I believe, June 11th. And then they were shipped out and got here on June 14th. So, pretty quick turnaround once they got to CGC. Took maybe a couple months for the pressing to be done. So that took a little bit of time. But actually getting them graded and everything was pretty quick. So I bought these. It was in two different sales, I think like 2 weeks apart, but I was able to get them both sent together because the first book was still there. But I bought these maybe like 3 months ago, something like that, something around there, 2.5 to 3 months ago. All right, so I'm going to do the kind of like, the fun reveal, so that you guys get to be surprised on what the grade actually is. I'll talk about what the grade estimate was, and then what the book got, why the book's important, all that kind of thing. Let's see. I don't know which one this is, but we'll start with this book. I don't know, did that show on screen? No, I don't think it did. All right, so we'll start with this book. I think this is the Silver Age book because it feels thinner. So this is Brave and the Bold, number 28. If you are not familiar with this book, this is the first appearance of the Justice League, and awesome cover. This is the DC equivalent to Avengers number 1. And you've got them fighting Starro on the cover. Flip Mode Comics had graded this one as a 2.5 to a 3. After pressing and cleaning, it got a 3.5. So I am really, really happy with that. it is a very solid presenting copy of this book. I mean, colors are great. And again, this is one of those things, like all I saw of this book was what I could see through my phone screen on Instagram. So it's like I couldn't make out anything. I didn't know what flaws were on this book or anything like that. I didn't know what the back cover looked like. So, I mean, like in those cases, like you are like, and I've said this before, like when you're buying on Instagram, you know, you're taking some risk because you're really counting on the grading of the person that you're buying from. But yeah, Brave and Bold number 28 came back at 3.5. Super happy with that. And you see front cover looks great. The back cover does have like a stain in the upper corner up here, like this blue stain in the upper corner and a tear up there. But that's one of like the big noticeable flaws in the book. But it's not on the front, which is because it would be over here, I guess. It's not, you know, it's not on the front. So it presents really, really well. 3.5. Super happy with this book. So that's the first one. The next book, this one I'm torn on if it's going to be a keeper book or not. I will probably end up selling it, but I'm not. I brought some other books to talk about, like for why this one is potentially a keeper book for me. So this one, when they brought it up, I claimed it, I think immediately, because I recognized what it was right away. I think some people definitely won't. Like, you've got to be a Golden Age person, and you definitely need to probably have some familiarity, at least with this specific artist. And so I'll show the book while I talk about it, so it's, you know, you're not just looking at me. So this book is Jumbo Comics number 69. And so the thing that, like, the Jumbo Comics run, it went for a pretty long time, similar to like Jungle Comics. This one has, I think it's a Sheena cover. And a lot of these books, they don't carry like a ton of value, even in higher grades. Just because there was a very long run, there's quite a few of them out there. There tend to be some high grade copies that are available. This issue specifically has one big key fact about it that makes it pretty valuable. And that is that this is the first Matt Baker art. Now, I don't know why CGC doesn't put it on the label. They should put it on the label. Everybody knows it, but it is the first Matt Baker art. It's an interior story. And so he didn't do the cover. The cover is a Joe Doolin cover, who was like one of the workhorses of that era for good girl art type covers. Joe Doolin did all kinds of stuff, Planet Comics as well, and that kind of thing. But Jumbo Comics number 69, first Matt Baker art. And Matt Baker is one of just the preeminent Golden Age artists. And so super collectible. And two of his books, two of his covers are in my PC. But this one, this one's pretty incredible. So this was estimated at a 6.5. And it came back an 8.0 after pressing and cleaning. 8.0 is the second highest graded, but only copy at an 8. So there are two 9.0s. There is this 8.0, and then I think it goes down to a 7.5. And so it is the third highest overall copy, second highest grade, and it's a standalone 8.0 at the second highest grade. I am super happy with that. And that is why I'm torn on if I'm going to, just haven't decided yet, if I'm going to sell this book or if it's going to go into the PC, just because having the opportunity to come across, you know, a high grade copy like this is not something that happens all that often, obviously, because there's only two graded higher. But you can see it is really a incredible presenting copy of this book. Colors are great, very sharp book. The main thing that hurts this book is there is some foxing. And so if you're not familiar with foxing, it's these like little brown dots that get on paper. There is some foxing to the cover, and there's a very light dust shadow on the back cover. You can see on the bottom here and on the side here. Dust shadows, if you're not familiar, are basically when you had a stack of books where one part of that book was exposed to the atmosphere, and it kind of like just creates this the shadow, whether it's from the sunlight or dust or whatever else that's in the air. It's just referred to as dust shadows. But front cover, I mean, just an incredible copy of this book. So like I said, second highest graded, but standalone at that 8.0 grade, only 2 graded higher. This is the Promise Collection copy. It was actually a 7.0. So the Promise Collection pedigree is a 7.0. One of the 9.0s is the Davis Crippen pedigree. So this, I mean, this really is, it's up there in some rare air with the condition of this book. So very, very happy with this one. Especially since I didn't get a chance to see it, you know, before it before it went out. So I just want to, yeah, I gotta take a close look at this book. I mean, it really is just like, it is a stunning copy. I mean, there's a little bit of spine wear. I mean, it's an 8, right? It's not a perfect book. You can see that kind of noticeable tick. Where is it? Right here. It's a little bit of spine wear on the book. A little bit of edge wear that you can see and that kind of thing. But the main thing, like I said, is the foxing that's on the back and the dust shadow. But yeah, awesome. But like I said, I brought a couple other books here. Just if you are, say you're new to the channel or new to Golden Age books or not totally familiar with Matt Baker. Matt Baker, what he's really, really known for is, we call it like good girl art. It's tends to be drawing, you know, women in the Golden Age. And so one of his biggest books is this book right here. This is one of my PC books. This is 7C's Comics number 4. The underwater covers are always popular. I mean, no matter what, almost no matter who the cover artist is, they're always popular. They're really popular with horror books, but also popular in this case. You've also got the, you know, the shark on the cover and everything. I think she's referred to as just like the 7C's girl, that's her name. But 7C's number 4, it's a 2.0, but it's a great presenting copy of that book. This is one of my keepers and one of the big Baker grails, we'll call it. Now, we'll call it the top Baker grail. This book in a 9.6 sold from the Promise Collection for $456,000. This one is a 2.5, but is Phantom Lady number 17. This is another one of my PC books, and yeah, this one has a lot of like pen on the cover. Some kid, you know, like tattooed her leg with the person and like, you know, scribbled on the cover and like drew their name on the back cover, that kind of stuff. But still a very, very, very expensive book. Colors are fantastic on this one. The wrap is real square and everything. So it has its downsides, but it also has its positive points. And so this is one of my PC keeper books as well. So Phantom Lady 17. This is the biggest Matt Baker book that is out there. Then I've just got a couple others that I have. This one is one of my favorite covers that he did, Teenage Romances number 32. You'll find with Matt Baker, one of the things that really drives the value in his covers, it's that, I mean, it really is the cover content. It's the story that it's trying to sell. It can also be kind of like like that content, like beach stories or beach covers where it's like women in swimsuits and that kind of stuff. Those tend to command a lot more value than some others. It also, a lot of it can come down to like the look that he draws on their face. Like there are certain covers where he has the women just kind of like drawn with like a very specific, like seductive type look on their face. And those are just really, really desirable. And that goes on with the other book that I have here as well. This is one that I've tossed back and forth on if I'm gonna keep it in my PC or not. I have it up for sale, but I also don't really want to sell it. This is Wartime Romances number 17. And you can see here, he drew her with that very similar kind of like face on that cover. And this one, the big thing here is that, yes, it's a 6.5, but this is the single highest graded copy of this book. And I just checked before I filmed this, it is still the single highest graded. I wasn't, you know, you always got to check that stuff. But this is the single highest graded copy of Wartime Romances number 17. These books, the romance covers especially, are extremely difficult to get in high grade. High grade is a 6 for these books. And so it's a 6.5. I mean, there's a couple things I really like about this cover. I like the content, you know, I like the content for the cover, but I also really like the heading. I love the blue and the red, how those kind of, the contrast you get with those. It's not a super common color in that era, and I think it really pops for this book. But yeah, the Jumbo Comics, here, this one, number 69. This was in 1944, so that's his first art. Then just kind of for time frames, for these books, the next one here, this was 1947. So 3 years later was 1947. Then we had Phantom Lady 17, which was from 1948. And then the last two here, when we're getting more into these romance stories, this is 1953, and this one is also 1953. So a lot of the romance ones tend to be more like 52 through about 55 or 56. But yeah, those are all the books. I mean, that's why that book I'm tempted to have as one of like my keeper or my PC type books, because I'm a big Matt Baker fan. I've got a couple of his big books in my PC. So but yeah, that's why that book, I'm just tempted to have that as one of my, my PC books. And yeah, this one here, I mean, it's just like, that's where his work started. So the first Matt Baker art in Jumbo Comics number 69. So just something to remember if you ever see this cover. That is, I mean, that's how I often remember things. It's covers or whatever. I don't always remember issue numbers, but if you ever see this one, that is what this book is known for. But hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.